What? What? Why? This is weird. Good morning. What's going on, everyone? Yeah. I pressed the button. I know I did. I don't know why it comes back in this orientation. What's going on? Anyway, good morning. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Wednesday Live. Welcome to Homeboat Workshop. I guess we're in this orientation again. I can't understand this. Anyway, what's going on? How's everybody doing? Let me just readjust things here. Again. Scoot this down a little bit. I know for a fact I pressed that button to orient it the other way. As soon as I hit the live, poof, we're back to this. But that's okay. It's becoming kind of normal. Although it's still weird and throws me off, but we're not going to let that stop us. We're going to jump right in. How's everybody doing? Let's see. You guys are all tuned in. Right on. Sam's here. Sam says hello. Robert says, looks like we'll be starting up shortly. Yes, we are. We're live now. And my apologies if you can hear traffic noise. I've been spraying lacquer in here, and the fumes are a little bit strong, so I've kind of got the windows open a little bit more. Yeah, so sorry about that. If I close it up, I'm going to have to move outside probably. Hair Dude's here. What's up? Greetings, folks. Hair Dude says, what's up? Hair Dude, how's it going? And Mike Johnson's here. Mike says, good morning all. What's up, Mike? And Robert, there he is. And Gina's here. Good morning. Gina says, good morning all. Sam says, hello. What's up, everybody? Well, it is a whirlwind of stuff going on here. This is the, right now it's the plaque factory. It's not a bad business name either, I think. One who wanted to do plaques, the plaque factory. Or a dentist, right? Robert says, that's okay. We can put up with the extra sounds. Right on. Thanks, Robert. Otherwise, I'm going to get a little woozy. I might anyway. I might have to go outside. I thought these fumes would be cleared out. I had the windows and the doors, and I got the fan on. It's a little strong. Rick's here. Rick says, good morning, Jeff. Rick, how's it going? It's been a while, Rick. I hope you're doing well. Right on. Time Surfing Alien, howdy y'all. What's going on? Good morning to you. Francisco's here. Francisco says, hello, Jeff. Good morning, Francisco. How are you doing this morning? And Sam's got more ads. Francisco says, hello from Dominican Republic. Right on. How's everything in the Dominican Republic, Francisco? Is it still pretty hot? Does it get warm down there? Sorry, I got a little tongue-tied there. Rick says, is it cold in Colorado? No, it's not. Yesterday was the coolest day we've had in the morning. We were like 37 degrees in the morning, but I got up to like 70. Today's supposed to be like record high for this time of year, like 83 or 84, something like that. So, no, the weather's been great still. We haven't quite dropped off into that cold yet. There has been a few days I've had the beanie on in the morning, but other than that, the weather's been really nice, which is good because I got a lot of work that I'm trying to get out right now, and a lot of that's being done outside because I got these plaques that we've been talking about in various stages of production, and a lot of that has to be done outside because I just don't have the space to do everything that needs to be done in here and to try to keep the different processes moving along. We'll get to that here in a few minutes. Let's see. Rick says, cool. Francisco says, it's hot all year long. Right on. I imagine it to be. I've never been in that part of the world, but I imagine it to be quite nice year-round. Sam asks, do you know of Stumpy Nubs? He has cool stuff and really nice workshop. Yes, I've watched quite a few of his videos. He does a lot of well-produced videos on a lot of different subjects. Yes, I am familiar with him. Rick says it's cold here in Bernie, California. Yeah, we haven't got the cold yet, but we will. We will. Hopefully not until this project is done. And according to the weather forecast, it's gonna be nice. So, hope everyone has a beverage of choice. Mine, a little extra coffee this morning, because well, we just got to keep things rolling along. Cheers. So what's everybody working on? Type it in. Let me know what kind of projects you got going on. What are some things on your workbench? What's on your bench? It's the What's on Your Bench segment. Rick says cheers. Right on. Thank you, Rick. So we are, as you can maybe see due to the narrow field of view, we got plaques. That's our stack. That's what's left, if you can sort of tell. Remember the stack we had before? It was giant. That's where we're at. And today that's going to be even less. I've got the stack in the back is sanded to 220 on the top and back. I got to hand sand the sides yet. The ones on the front, you can't even see the ones on the front. Darn, there we go. The little stack in the front is already sanded, ready to go on the laser. I got one here that the laser stopped right in the middle. I don't know why. It's the first one. So I got to see if I can salvage that one, or I may have to make another one. I'm not sure. I'm right on the line with, I think I have like one extra. So I don't know what happened, but the laser was going along and it stopped. And based on my experience with my particular laser, you can't restart it from scratch and have everything line up. I've tried. So that was unfortunate, but I got several ready to go on the laser. I do have one that has been lasered, waiting for the finishing process, but I'm working on the finishing process. I've got some that have the first coat of lacquer on it. It needs a sanding with some 600 grit just to remove any high spots, which actually these I'd almost let that go like that, but it's only got the first coat. A light scuff, we'll spray the second coat, and then it's ready to dry and assemble. There's about 6 different stages here that I got things going in, and a lot of that I'm doing outside. Right now, since I'm spraying all this clear, I'm trying to do all the dusty stuff outside, where I can use the air hose, blow the dust off, keep all the dust out, and do nothing dusty in here at the moment, because the finish is coming out really nice. I'm really happy with it, and I don't want to stir up a ton of dust. I'll show you a finished one here in a second. Let me catch up on your comments here. Harry Dude says he's in the middle of rebinding an acoustic, front and back. Got the new binding almost done on the back. Still got the front to do. I have to stop after a while. The glue I'm using is vile. Oh, are you using that? I forget what it's called. Or what Stu Mac calls it anyway. Bindall or something. It's kind of a. If it's something similar to that, you know exactly the smell you're talking about. Yes, it is super strong. So I'm guessing you're using like the I'd say plastic, but there's another not acetate. Is that it? I don't think that's it, but yeah. Harry Dude, I think I know the glue you're using. Keep the fans on and keep the ventilation going. Sam says I watched Stumpy Nubs saw a kickback warning video. It was shocking, but really brought the information home. It will be remembered. Yes, I think I've seen that one. That's always something that. When I'm using the table saw, that is something that is always on my mind. Kickback. Now, thankfully, I've never experienced anything horrible. I have had like some offcuts. If you're trimming a little strip or something, I've had some of those fly before. But yeah, it's always on my mind when I have that table saw running. And my little saw, unfortunately, does not have a riving knife, which prevents the boards from closing and kicking back. And I'd have to do some extensive modifications to my little saw in order to add a riving knife. So every time I'm using it, yeah, I am off to the side, and I've got push sticks in both hands, and yeah, you'll see it when I get the video together for these plaques. Just some of how I'm cutting things, and yeah, it's always something that I really think a lot about, because it's no joke, especially with a bigger saw. I think that's one advantage, if you could call it that, to my little saw. It's probably underpowered. It doesn't take a whole lot to bog down, but I also feel that maybe since it is underpowered, maybe that helps prevent kickback a little bit, because it just doesn't have the power to send a board flying. I don't know. But yeah, table saw safety, that's a big thing. Gina says, I'm rating an SOP standard operating procedure on how to create map books. It's so fun. Well, that sounds cool. The old SOPs. Yeah, I don't miss having to write those. I used to have to do that on occasion. And yeah, not all that fun. Let's see. Robert says 3x3 Customs has some good woodworking projects. She just built a workbench addition for doing crosscuts with a track saw. Ooh, that sounds cool. I have seen some of the 3x3 videos as well. Yeah, there's so many good channels out there with so much information. And I know there's probably tons and tons that I haven't seen. I forget the statistic now off the top of my head, how much video material is uploaded to YouTube like every minute. It's like 20 hours or 200 hours, or I don't know. It's an astonishing number of video that is uploaded on a daily basis. So I know there's stuff that I haven't seen. So I always like your recommendations and things, because, like I said, I can't see it all. Let's see. Sam says I installed an electric fly zapper today in the kitchen. Hey! Hopefully not over the stove where you're cooking. That could be bad. I've seen those before. Yeah, there's a fly. Did you see that one there? I need a zapper. Jimmer says, kickback bad. 4x4 in the face, if you remember. I remember something about that. Yeah, kickback is it's not something to mess around with. Dastardly Dave's here. Dave says, sup all. What's up, Dave? How's it going? How are you doing this fine Wednesday morning? Heritage says, Acrofix 192. Stinky. Yeah, that's not the name I was thinking of, but it's probably something similar to a glue that I've used before. And it's pretty, yeah, it's pretty stinky stuff. Heritage says, I wore half a sheet of MDF due to kickback. Bruise on my stomach, lasted months. I can still see the point of impact 9 months later. I think I got off lucky. Wow. I think you did too, and I'm glad that just a bruise. Speaking of bruises, I don't even want to tell this story, but I'm going to. I feel obligated to share it with you. You see that little red mark right there? Right there on my cheekbone. That happened 2 days ago. Not because of kickback, not because of, something like that. So I'm working on these things, these plaques, right? I just got to tell the story. You comment down below. So I'm working on these things. I got, I'm spraying the finish in here, and then I go outside, do some sanding, or, set up the laser, something outside. I've got several, like, it's overtaken the entire area. I've got finished ones inside that I'm working on assembling in the house. I put up the little canopy here, and I've got the laser set up out front. Just to kind of keep it so I don't have to be in the sun. I dragged our picnic table to the backside, where it was out of the wind yesterday, and we were sanding out there. I've had some buddies come in and help me. I've got another table over, like the whole area has become a workstation for some part of this process. So I'd sprayed the finish, and I was outside sanding, again keeping the dust down. So I'm out there sanding, and some clouds had come in, and it looked like rain clouds to me. I checked the weather, said 0% chance. It didn't say anything about rain. I'm like, yeah, it's just just some weird cloud came in. Okay, whatever. I keep sanding along. About 45 minutes later, it starts raining. I got 4 or 5, I think like 5 of these sitting out there that I'd been sanding on, kind of assembly line thing. I had a couple more that I tried. I sprayed the first coat outside to see if that was an option. So I had 6 or 8 of these things sitting outside, and the rain starts coming down. I'm like, oh no, unfinished, right? So the water's going to raise the grain. I'm going to have to resand stuff. So I grabbed a couple, and I can't just scoop up the whole thing at once because I don't want to scratch them or damage the corners or anything like that. So I grabbed a few, and I hurried and put them inside, and I zoomed back outside, and I'm moving pretty quick. It wasn't pouring rain, but it was definitely raining. And I grabbed a couple more, and I come inside, and I went out to grab the last 2 or 3, and I had the air hose outside because I was blowing the dust off. And I zipped out the door, and I came around the corner in front of where I had the laser, and I stepped on that air hose. And of course, it's round, so my foot rolled off it. My feet went out from under me. I probably was completely horizontal, and I landed on the ground on my right side. My face landed in the dirt. I had a mouthful of dirt, dirt in my eyes, and like I immediately jumped up as quick as I could once I realized what happened. And dirt. I'm covered in dirt, and I'm spitting the dirt out. And I grabbed the last ones, and I got them inside. And before I even realized what was going on, or really what had happened. But my main focus was to get these things so they wouldn't get rained on. I get everything inside. I realize my face hurts. My ankle's killing me. I'm like, oh great, I broke my ankle. Because I stepped on it, and my ankle just twisted. And so I went inside, and I washed my face, and spit out all the dirt and crap. And I got a little bit of a scrape here. I thought my lip was all busted up. It wasn't really, but so I got a little road rash here. But speaking of bruises, I carry my pocket knife in my right pocket. And when I landed right on my pocket knife, so it jammed into like my hip muscle or whatever that muscle is. It is so sore. Like, this doesn't really hurt. Like, I can tell there's a scrape there. It's no big deal. It's not even all that red. But my thigh muscle, whatever that is, where my knife smashed into it, man, is it sore. And there's not a bruise or anything, so I believe it's all, it's just a muscle bruise, but I hate falling down. I don't fall down very often, and when I do, I fell down 2 days ago. Oh boy. Anyway, that was my long-winded story to say I got a little road rash here because my face was literally smashed into the dirt. And I got a bruise on my leg, or muscle bruise, or whatever it is. I fell down. Yeah. Anyway, that's that. These things happen from time to time, but as a little safety reminder, don't leave your air hoses on the ground. You step on them, you get tangled up in them, you just never know. I still have the air hose outside right now, but I kind of have it wrapped up sort of off to the side, and I'm trying to be a lot more aware of that. So just be careful. Those things will roll right from under your feet, and if it doesn't wrap around your feet, and you'll fall down like I did. So just be safe. Keep that in mind. Sometimes we don't think about things, really. It was a quick reminder of, oh, hey, don't do that. So be careful with air hoses. Don't leave them laying about. All right, back to the comments. Sorry, I had to tell that story because you learn from my lessons. Learn lessons from, I don't know what the saying is. Paul's here. Paul says, "Good morning, everyone." Paul, what's going on? How are you doing this morning? How's the recovery going? Hope you're doing well. Robert says 3x3 Customs is real big on jigs and shortcuts for woodworkers. Yes, you got to have jigs. I still have one more jig that I need to make for this particular, actually two more jigs that I need to make for this particular project. And Sam says, "No, not over the stove, no." Jimmer says, "Whole reason we built my saw sled helps prevent it." Yes. Yeah, sleds work great for all kinds of different things. Paul says, "We had a kid in shop class that had kickback long before safety saws, and he was impaled by the piece. Dangerous stuff." Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's horrible. This was an offcut right here, right? From this project. Could you imagine if this somehow kicked back? I mean, that's literally to a point. Not in this dimension, but right here, that is a point. And if that's thing's flying at, I don't know how fast they fly, 100 miles an hour or whatever. Boing! Could you imagine? I mean, that would just be terrible. And really, the saw stop deals, from my understanding, it only stops if it touches flesh, right? But what if it just kicks back? I honestly, I'm not an expert on those, but I feel like it's still going to kick back, and as long as your finger doesn't touch it, I don't think it's going to shut off. So even if you have a saw stop or one of those safety saws, you're still at risk, I believe. If you know differently, let me know. Maybe there's some sort of measuring in there for, I don't know how that works, but yeah, man, that's crazy. Mike says, "Gina?" Yes, Gina's here. She's here. Robert says, "Saw a kickback when I was in high school shop class. A guy was cutting cabinet door panel and grabbed and spun the 2x2 panel out of the saw like a square frisbee." Wow. Yeah, it's no joke. It is no joke. I mean, you got to pay attention, and you got to always be prepared, because sometimes you just never know. A lot of times we just get complacent. Maybe that's the word. I'm not sure. And you just start doing a task. But on this project, with as many pieces as I had to rip down, I never let that thought come out of my head. When that table saw's on and I'm not using a sled of some sort, every single cut, I'm watching the end, as it's going through. And if I, start to see that move either way, it's just, there's so many things that I'm trying to watch, to make sure that, to try to anticipate. I listen to the saw. Sometimes if it pinches a little bit, you can kind of hear, on my machine anyway, the blade starts to bog down a little bit, and I know something's going on. There's been quite a few times where I'll see it start to close up, the blade starts bogging down, and I will immediately stop. I don't try to back it out because, if it starts to close, then you could get that kickback again. But I'll immediately, try to freeze, shut that sucker off. The switch on mine is in a spot where I'm always standing off to the left side. I can hit it with my knee, and shut it off. I don't think that's what it's designed for, but it works well because there's zero chance I'm taking my hands off of that piece. And it's happened more than once, but thankfully I've never had any sort of disastrous kickback. But yeah, it always has to be front of mind when you're running that table saw. A lot of machines, right? You have to always pay attention. Even on the drill press, make sure, I'm not using gloves or any sort of sleeves that are going to snag. But the table saw, in my opinion, is the one that you have to have 100% focus, and not let anything distract you. You can't, if somebody walks in or whatever it is, if that table saw is running, nothing else exists until that sucker's turned off. You really have to be diligent, at least At least I do anyway, and I think all of us should. Donna's here. Donna says, coffee up. Coffee up, Donna. Need a little extra coffee this morning. And Sam with the super chat for the go-go juice. Right on, Sam. Sam says a man needs coffee in the workshop to warm up, as cold hands in the workshop isn't nice. Prevents proper and safe hand use. Yes. That's a very good point, too. It's hard to work when your hands are froze. But I also cannot work with gloves on. I cannot stand trying to, if I'm trying to do things, I can't wear gloves. If I'm outside, doing something, that's a little bit different. It's not as big a deal. But if I'm actually in here trying to work, there's zero chance that I'm going to be wearing gloves in most cases. Yeah, just gloves impact your hands. And having a nice warm cup of coffee to warm your hands. Yeah, thank you, Sam. Appreciate that. I didn't even have to fight with the buttons. Right on. Thanks, Sam. Robert says, glad you were not hurt very bad. Yeah, thank you, Robert. Me too. Yeah, just a little road rash, a little bruise on my leg. No big deal. Mike says, the plague of the plaques. But that wasn't really any fault of these things. It's just, I wasn't paying attention, really, and I was trying to hurry and get these pieces out of the rain. Paul says, trying out the rebuild ankle. Can use it for balance, but no walking. Therapy is painful, but getting good movement. Hopefully walking again soon. Tired of the mobile cart. Yeah, that's good news, Paul. I'm glad you're able to start, test out the waters, I guess. Right on. Paul says, saw stops don't prevent kickback. Only knowledge and safety do. Yes, kind of what I was saying. Yeah, well said. Mike says, Gina gave you the mark. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and that's what they said. They're like, just tell them Gina did it. Sam says, no gloves near saws. Yeah, I don't wear gloves near anything. Rick says, I installed a kitchen counter, cutting the hole for the sink. I was using a jigsaw. For unknown reason, the blade broke. I've had that happen before. I don't know if they just get fatigued and will just break or whatever, but that's always a drag. Because I don't know how your experience went, but I've had it where it breaks before, and then, now you've only got a little teeny short blade, but now when it cuts, before the saw stops or you get it shut off or whatever, the little short nub pulls up past the surface of the wood and then just like hammers on the piece of wood. Have you ever had that happen? I have. Sam says, would you say full face shields should be worn rather than safety glasses or goggles? That's a good question, Sam. I like that. I think it depends on the machine. Now, for me, when I was cutting all of these pieces for the plaques, and really anytime I cut something on the table saw, there's a ton of dust that blows up. And for this project in particular, I had safety glasses, I had a respirator because I was cutting for extended times, as well as earmuffs. Because I didn't, it always blows this dust right up my face. For one or two cuts, something like that, or, a few cuts, I think, safety glasses are usually enough. But I did consider, after the first day of ripping a bunch of pieces like this, getting a full face shield. I think in that application, it would be better, to be completely honest, yes. Because, now, if you got a different machine that has good dust collection and maybe doesn't throw up a bunch of sawdust, my machine throws up tons and tons of sawdust right in your face, it feels like. So for that, I do believe that a full face shield would be better. Now, I don't enjoy wearing a full face shield. I don't. But I've worn them for a lot of operations, working in town, in the maintenance department. There was certain machines that in order to be able to use, you had to wear the full face shield. And it is nice because there's nothing really blocking your vision. You don't have glasses, you don't have goggles. I think a full face shield works really well. And honestly, I think I still may pick one up for these extended cutting sessions, which I don't do often, but it is kind of nice to just have your whole face covered. I think it's totally worth it. Now, if I'm at the bandsaw, it doesn't throw stuff up in your face, and I feel like safety glasses or goggles would be fine. Drill press the same way. Doesn't usually throw stuff up in your face. Again, I guess you just sort of have to look at what you're working on, and if there's a chance that a lot of stuff will be thrown at you, a face shield might be better. But I do know on my particular table saw, a face shield would 100% be better than safety glasses. You just have to kind of, at least I feel anyway, you just have to assess your particular situation and determine, is it just a few pieces of sawdust here and there, like maybe on the bandsaw or something like that, or is there going to be just piles of sawdust like on my table saw? You just have to assess your particular situation and make that judgment. But yes, there's a definite advantage to a face shield, I think. Rick said no, it didn't break and hammer into the wood. That's good. I'm glad. I've had that happen before, and then it puts all these nice little dents in there before you can either pull the saw up or get the saw stopped. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends on where the blade breaks. Sam says depending on the task. Yes, I had a long-winded way of saying exactly that. And Henry's here. Good morning, Henry. How are you doing this morning? Henry says, found a few nice old task lamps, desk lights at the thrift. Really nice. It scrolled. I'm coming back. Really nice to be able to move light to where you need it. How do you light your work setup? Good question. So I have several of those, those clamp lights you can get at the hardware store for, just, I don't know, heat lamps for chickens or whatever, or just some clip-on clampy type lighting. I have 1, 2, 3 of those that I have. Those are here more for the video, so that I have light, kind of lighten me up. It's actually dark. Well, why is it dark on this side? It's to hide that. No. But I have several of those. But overhead, you can sort of see up here. I have quite a few 4-foot LED daylight temperature LED strips, and that's what does most of the lighting. I have one of them mounted over the CNC machine. Yeah, I probably need another one, but those do the majority of the work. The little clampy lights are, again, more for video. But a lot of times I'll just leave the LEDs off and just have a couple of these clamp lights on if I'm not doing video or not something where I really need to see. And it's enough light, to work. And then inside at my setup bench in there, I have some kind of a pendant style light. I actually made them in a video, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and they hang down, and they've got some, there's 2 of them that hang just above my head at the setup bench, and they provide a tremendous amount of light. That is probably one of the most well lit work tables. It's great to work at. You can see the only downside is they're right over the bench, and if I have to lean over the bench to like make an adjustment or do some sort of task, it'll cast a shadow, right, because it's over. If I lean over the light, that's really the only downside. But yeah, just a couple pendant lights with some 100-watt LED bulbs in there, daylight temperature. I like all my bulbs to be daylight temperature, and it works really well. So I don't have anything super fancy. I just try to have a lot of light. As my eyes get a little worse year after year, I like a lot of light, but I've always liked a lot of light. But I'm finding really now that I need a little bit more. But I don't do anything super fancy. Let's see. Canal Projecto from Brazil. Welcome. How's it going? Sorry, I'm not good at reading Spanish. My apologies, but I hope you're doing good. Jimmer says, no safety glasses or shields. Every single time I wear them, something bad happens. Yeah, I'm glad, right? So I got these like cheater, glasses, and they are safety shields, but I'm glad I did not have these on when when I fell, because that would have hurt. Smash that thing into the side of my face. Robert says, I've seen some full face shields advertised when watching videos that look real good, almost like a face hugging bike helmet without the helmet. I think I've seen those. They also have some, you can get a full face shield that actually has some sort of a fan, like to help with airflow or something. I've never tried those, but yeah, I've seen some really nice ones. Paul says, I wear safety goggles, except when at the lathe, then I use a full face mask. Yes, that's another tool where a full face mask, I think, is a pretty good idea. I haven't done a whole lot of turning, but I've done a little bit. And when you really get to rolling along there, those shavings, I mean, they will fly. Robert says it claims to not fog up like some do. Well, that would be cool. That's one downside, right? Especially when I'm wearing safety glasses and a respirator and all that, and it just fogs up and it's annoying. It's almost worse than not having them on at all, almost. Paul says, I have 6 4-foot, 5,000 lumen LED strips in my 160 square foot shop. 2 overhead, 4 placed above various stations to add more light when needed. Helps with lighting and prevents vampire incursions. Yeah, that's important. What do I have in here? They're too bright. I can't even look at them. I have 6 4-foot strips in here that you cannot look at the ceiling, or you'll see little LED dots. I have 6 of those and 3 of these clamp lights. Gina says, oh, that reminds me, I need to make eye appointments. Yeah, I got to get my eyes checked. They're getting worse. They are getting worse. I think I need a different prescription. Sam says, UV lights are great to use when painting with white paints. It shows up the new and old coats, only used with white paints. That's how I knew I painted my walls properly. Interesting. I've never really messed with UV lights. Jim says, fans for anti-fog. Probably. It probably is. That'd be kind of neat. Robert says, I've seen those with the air supply. They're mainly for sanding and grinding. That would make sense. And it would probably work for a lot of stuff, really. You just want to breathe some sort of fresher air or something. Rick says, is it safe to use a side guide when using a jigsaw? I think so. My opinion, I guess. I'm trying to remember. I know mine has a side. I think I've used the side guide on my jigsaw, for helping you cut straight, kind of rip cuts. And yeah, I don't see any issue with that at all. Test it out, make sure you feel comfortable, but it doesn't really change the operation, except for the fact that you got to make sure that side guide stays against the side. And you go slow so the blade doesn't drift and wander. That's one thing that I've had issues with a jigsaw before. If you're trying to hurry and push the piece really hard through the wood, I have had, let's see here. Let's say this is an exaggerated blade, right? So it's cutting, and if you try to force it, I've had the end of the blade do this, right? So it's cutting, but the blade is bending because you're forcing it and not letting the blade do its job, or maybe using a dull blade. So then when you get done, not this bad, this is exaggerated, but it may be crooked because the blade has wandered. So that's where it's important with a jigsaw, just to let the blade cut, and only provide enough pressure to let it move forward. Otherwise, it's possible you could get that, that blade will bend. That's really the only thing I've ever really had go wrong with a jigsaw, except for the blade breaking and it, smashes into the top of your piece. But side guide, I don't see any issue with the side guide. Gina says, according to Google Translate, Brazil said, father and son project in full swing. Good afternoon, my friend. Right on. That's awesome. Thank you for providing the translation. I hope your project's going well. Those are the best projects you get to do with your son or daughter. That's awesome. Well done. Rick says, yep, right. Mike says, when are the plaques to be given to the client? Want to see the final product? Probably need foam packets to protect them until delivered. Yes, I have one here. I was going to show you earlier when I was talking about them, but we got to talking about other stuff, and that's okay. So let me show you. So here's one of them. Right here. This one is done. It's got the centerpiece on there. That's the 3D printed and then painted and then has gold accents applied. The walnut laser engraved plaque. Keyhole slot on the back. This one is ready to be delivered. And I've got a living room full of these bases. I've got a whole bunch of these things go. The 3D printer's still running. I don't even have everything printed yet. But I am to deliver as many as possible Friday, this Friday. So yeah. It's going good. I don't know, we're over halfway. I don't know if I'm going to have the final ones done by Friday. The event this weekend goes all Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I'll probably be delivering as many as possible Friday afternoon. And then I'll continue working on them and probably try to deliver more on Sunday, whatever ones I get done. And I think there might be a few that'll have to get delivered after the fact, but you know, they mentioned that from the beginning, you know, get as many as you can and the rest we'll figure out, you know, after the fact. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out with the 3D print. Yeah, they look really nice once it gets together. This one I gotta pull back off because I want to add a little tiny drop of wood glue to the threads, sort of as a thread locker, just to make sure nothing loosens up, but yet it won't be a permanent. You know, I don't want to use like Loctite or something, so I will take the screws and just a little tiny dab just to make sure nothing comes loose. And yeah, it's going good. It's going good. So yeah, I'm going to be delivering a whole bundle of them on Friday, and the rest as we go. It has been crazy. So the 3D printer is still printing. It's going to be printing. It probably has, I don't know how many days yet, but there's at least several days of printing. I've had, you know, several buddies come up helping me sand, which has been awesome, because you guys know the sanding process takes so long, and I'm not even going super high grit. I'm going 220 on the front and back. I'm doing 320 on the edges, and you know, a light sanding of 600 between coats. But I've had several friends, like I said, you know, volunteer. Hey, we'll come help sand. I'm like, let's do it. And we have little sanding parties, and it's just been crazy. Yeah. Oh, I'm scrolling back up. Sorry about that. So, Mike, there you go. That's the plaques. I haven't done the ones that you helped me with yet. Those still have to print, but I'm trying to get that goes on a different size. That one that you helped me with does not go on this size. It goes on a big triangle piece, and those aren't even printed yet because I'm still printing these other ones. So when I'll be getting to those. I'm going to knock these out first, and then I'll get to those big triangle ones with that larger print. So yeah, that's where we're at on the plaques. They're coming along really good. I'm just working with a ridiculously condensed timeline, but we'll get it. Rick says, thanks, Jeff. You're welcome, Rick. Not a problem. Henry says, having a light you can move angle can be helpful to see if you spread finish evenly. Yes. I like a warmer light sometimes so my eyes aren't as strained in the evening. That's a good point. Almost all the bulbs in our home, in the shop, are daylight bulbs, but I do have a couple lamps that I made that have they're LEDs, but they have the more yellow light, which I can't stand the yellow light, but I do like those at night. It's just a warmer feel. It's like a calmer feel, if that makes sense. We do run those at night, and for that reason exactly, because I can't imagine, coming from right out here where it's like the surface of the sun, and then trying to go to bed. Your eyes are all wide. I even notice I've been working out here till like 9 o'clock at night, most nights, or the last several nights anyway. And when I shut the lights off and I step outside, I can't see a thing because my eyes are adjusted to this, and then I go outside where it's dark. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, the lighter, warmer light at nighttime I think is really good. I just would not want to work in that yellowy light. Jimmer says, yeah, I took German in school. I did take German in school. 3 years of German. Didn't you take like French or something? I can't remember. Or did you take Spanish? Rick says, oh, that's cool. Robert says, looks nice. Right on, thank you. Yeah, I'm happy with them. I think they look awesome, especially once the centerpiece gets attached. And like this one is done. It just looks really cool. Satin finish on there. Not super reflective. I really like it. And Paul had a person contact him about a custom guitar he bought from a place in California. Guitar was crap build. Builder used one of my bodies from eBay, so the guy contacted me. Gonna make it right. Oh, wow. Interesting. So the guy that built him the guitar bought one of your bodies and then assembled a kind of crappy build. Huh. That, I don't know. I'm kind of pondering that. That's awesome that he used your body, but kind of sucks that he did a bad job. But you get to fix it, which is both good and bad, I guess. That's interesting. But yeah, you're going to make it right, because that's what we do, right? Something's not right, we make it right. That's just how we roll. I would do the same thing. Paul says, even though I didn't build the guitar, yeah. Henry says, looks excellent, very professional, and tastefully done. Thank you, Henry. Paul says, plaque looks great. Right on. Thank you. Tony says, morning, sunshine. Better late than never. Tony, where have you been? We waited. We didn't really, but welcome, Tony. Hope you're doing good this morning. Paul says, Gina, hook Jeff up to a coffee IV so he can work on plaques until he's done. I kind of feel like I'm gonna have to really do I don't know. I can't do an all-nighter because I gotta be able to take the kiddo to school and not fall asleep while driving, but it's almost what's in order. Gina says, I'll get on that. Yeah, well, then what would happen, right? So I got an IV, I got to have one of those little rolly stands. I'd probably trip over it and fall down again. Sam says if you get comments in our language, you can open a duplicate tab, translate the chat. The other tab remains open for switching use. Interesting. I've not ever tried that. And Dallo's here. Dallo says, good Wednesday, I'm late. That's all right. Better late than never. Just like Tony. Dallo, how's it going? How's your guitar builds going on? How's everything? Seems like it's been a little while. Henry says, I have daylight bulbs in the kitchen, warmer bulbs in the bedroom. Helps me sleep easier. Getting those color temp changeable bulbs could be interesting. I've thought about that. Yeah, you could set it to nighttime and it goes to a certain temperature. Yeah, that's interesting. Rick says, try doing stuff with one arm. I was in a car accident last December. Got an airbag in the face too. Rick, I don't think I knew that. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, airbags. I have seen the power of an airbag. Not personally, well, personally, but not from an accident. A long time ago, my brother was in school for auto body stuff uh, at one of the schools in our area. And we went down there for, I don't remember what it was, open house, career day type thing. I don't remember exactly what it was. This is probably 8 years ago, 26 years ago, somewhere around there. And he was auto body, so that, we were looking. They had all these demonstrations and stuff set up, showing different things, and one of them was airbags. And so they had a bunch of these airbags that had been taken out of vehicles, and they had them placed out in the field, and they'd connect them to a battery or some sort of a power source, and so everybody would clear back, and this thing's sitting out there face down, and they would connect this thing or hit the switch, and which would fire the airbag, and that unit would fly so high in the air just from the power of the propellant. It is no joke. Rick, I'm glad you're okay. Jimmer says 5 years of Spanish. I didn't. You took a lot more than I took of German. Paul says, "Yep, used one of my bodies. I do build them for some suppliers, but also sell a turn on eBay. Name and rep is key. Yes, yeah. Make things right. It's got your name on it. Yeah, no, it's the right thing to do. I agree with you 100%. Thomas is here. Thomas says hello. Good morning, Thomas. How are you doing? Jimmer says, then your friend calls at night, holding up progress and delaying dinner. No, no way. There's always time for that. I did have to get to dinner, though, because the ladies were hungry. See, Gina says, thanks, Jim. There's always time, my friend, always time. I can only let the ladies wait so long, though. Sam said, while walking down the street, look up at the street lights. It's the highlight of the day. Negative. Nope, too bright. Especially around here. They're putting all these, I don't know, probably like a lot of areas. They're all going to LEDs, and the street lights are so bright, which is great because it really lights up the intersection, but don't look at them. Rick says, wow. Yeah, dude, it was impressive. And this is in the mid to late 90s. How much power was behind those airbags? Like, it would just send this whole, I feel like it was the whole steering wheel. I may be wrong on that. I think it was, though. And they put it face down on this whole thing when they fired it off. It's nuts. Rick says, I'm okay. Right on. I'm glad. Jim says, sorry, Gina. I should have known. It's fine, dude. It's fine. You're welcome to chat anytime. Paul says, have a great week, everyone. Gotta go. Right on, Paul. You keep going on that ankle work. Right on. Gina says, it's okay. You don't talk that often. See, it's fine. She's just messing around. And Rick is headed out for the day. Have a great day, Chat and Jeff. Right on, Rick. You have a great day as well. Hope you have an awesome week. Glad you could stop in. Right on, Rick. Be safe, Paul, Sam says. I think the fumes are dissipating quite a bit more, which means I'm gonna stink it back up in here with some more lacquer as soon as we're done here. I got 3 of them here that are ready for their final coat on the front. And I learned something recently. I learned part of the reason why I like this particular lacquer product. Have you guys ever heard of the Deft brand spray lacquer? DEFT. I've always really liked that lacquer. It's worked really good for a lot of different projects. But for some reason, I never knew that it is a PPG product. I didn't know that. I don't know how I didn't know that. I also am a fan of PPG products, and that makes sense. But I went to the store to get a whole bunch for these. Ideally, I would spray these plaques with a spray gun, but I have zero place to set them up to spray them all at once. I'm really doing 2 or 3 at a time here and there, and it would be a nightmare trying to clean a spray gun, to try to keep it clean while doing a few at a time. You can buy that deft, in larger quantities, quarts, gallons, but so I go to the hardware store the other day to buy a whole bunch of it. I don't see it in the old packaging, the old can, and I'm like, oh no. I'm like, that's the one finish that I thought I would use. Well, there's two. First, I thought I'd use a wax oil finish, but then I changed my mind because I want something a little more durable. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to get a bunch of this lacquer and I'm going to use it. They didn't have it. At least I didn't see it. Apparently, they've changed their packaging and they've changed the name. So it's this Prolux lacquer. It says right on there, same deft formula, new name. But right on there, PPG, you probably can't see it. PPG logo. I didn't know that. I did not know this was a PPG product. I just knew that I liked this stuff. That makes sense. So if any of you happen to be looking for the old kind of blue can for this deft, this Prolux stuff is it's the exact same thing. It's spray, it goes on, dries, is fast. It's exactly the same. Not sponsored. I'm just going to throw that out there. But this stuff is if I'm going to use lacquer, this is the stuff I like. Deft, or now Prolux. I didn't know that. Little tidbit of information. I did have one can. So far, I've gone through one case, which is only 6 cans. I had one can. It's this one. For some reason, it doesn't spray very well. So I'm going to see if I can. I don't know if I can swap this out. This dripped all over just before I was using this to apply a coat just before we came on here, and it was dripping all over. So I got one. I got to sand a couple drips out of. It's the only one. I don't know what the deal was. It just kind of oozes out. Something screwy with the spray nozzle or something. But just in case, Prolux as the new name for Deft, which is a PPG product, which I think is kind of cool. Things you learn. Alrighty, let's see. Dallas says, sadly, I've been busy for the last 2 months. I'm still considering how to set the braces in my head, but it will go further soon. Oh, yeah. I'm like, braces in your head? What? No, I do that too. I think about a lot of stuff, trying to figure out how to do all this stuff. You'll get back to it. I know you will. Robert, I witnessed an accident that happened right in front of me at a traffic light. Went to help the people in the car. Powder in the airbag irritated my lungs for weeks. Wow. Yeah, it's literally some form of, I don't want to say gunpowder, but something like that. It might very well be, really, but it's something like that. Jimmer says we did that with airbags, put full garbage cans and some car seats too. Some of them we didn't find. I've seen them save some lives though. Yes. Yeah, it's amazing how much power is behind those things. But they do what they're supposed to do. Gina says, that's crazy, Robert. Sam said, don't forget the UK store. Chocolate from UK is better than Hershey's. Sorry, America. I don't know about that, Sam. No, nope. We were talking about that a few days ago, that we are making plans to get down that way. So we will definitely try it, and we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Challenge my Hershey's. No, we were talking about the other day, Sam, and we will get down there. Absolutely. I told Gina that we got to do it. We got to get over there. Pick up a few things. Challenge my Hershey's. As one who grew up 3-ish hours from Hershey, Pennsylvania, I'm a fan. I'm a Hershey fan. But we'll see. We'll give it a fair test. Hershey's and Reese's. Those are my two. So, anyway, guys, we're about an hour in. I think you know what that means. You got to get back to. Got to get back to it. I got to. As soon as we're done, I'm going to spray 2 more of these with the final coat. I've got one that I need to sand those drips out and respray that. And then I got some back here that I just got to keep the process moving. Right now, I'm trying to keep the finishing moving and working on other stuff in between. I'm going to get as many of these done for Friday as we can. And then I got to assemble some. It's all right. We'll get it. We'll get it. This has been, it's actually as much work and as kind of stressful as it's been. I mean, it's really kind of fun, especially as you start to see things come together. I'm really liking it. So, right on, guys. Thanks for the awesome chat today. Gives me an hour break, which is about the longest break I've had in the last couple weeks, other than the lives the last couple of weeks. Yeah, it was awesome and much needed. So, yeah. Before you leave, I think Gina's reminding everybody to hit the like button. Yeah, before you head out of here, hit that like. You know the deal. Sam says I got 3M Peltor ear protection. Yeah, I don't know if it's Peltor, but I have these. These are 3Ms. These are ones that I like the most. It says, thanks for the fantastic stream today. Well, thank you, Sam. Harry Dude says, catch you all next week, folks. Stay well. Right on, Harry Dude. Good luck with that binding. Keep that ventilation. You don't want to overdo it on the stinky stuff, because I know that I'm mighty close with the lacquer, even with a respirator. Gina says, you're most welcome. Thank you. Sam's M ear defender or aircraft version. Ooh, that'd be kind of cool. Oh, my ear defender. Okay, gotcha. Right on, everyone. Well, thank you for tuning in. It's been my pleasure to hang out with all of you, as it always is. I got to get back to work, and I'm going to let you guys get back to work. Get your projects knocked out. Get outside, enjoy the weather, get some fresh air. I need some fresh air right now, and yeah, just be safe, have fun, all that sort of stuff. Get some things done with your hands. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope all of you have an awesome week and an awesome weekend. Everybody be safe. Thanks again. I'm out of here. We'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you.